It's time now for another edition of the Canalta Hotel's AJHL Coaches Show. I'm Taylor Medak, and I'm pleased to be joined by Canmore Eagles GM and head coach Andrew Milne. And Andrew, first of all, thanks a lot for taking the time and joining us here on the Coaches Show. How's 2018 treating you right now with the Canmore Eagles? I know you guys are in a bit of a funk, losing a few in a row here, but you're still in the thick of things right now. It seems it's quite the battle in the South Division this year.
Yeah, well, obviously 2018 isn't great for us so far. We haven't had much success, but you know, the division is tight, and I think that speaks volumes to the parity that's in the league right now. It's in my time, it's probably the tightest the division's been, and you know, that's exciting for fans in the AJHL that every night the game's going to have massive impact on somebody somewhere, and there's going to be a fight down the stretch, and the last 20 games are going to have impact all the way through. I know this is going to come down to the final game, the final points for who's playing who and where, and there'll be some jockeying for position the whole way through. So, you know, that's exciting for fans. It's probably not so exciting for coaches.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you kind of just took the next question out of my mouth. I was going to say, is this the closest the division's been in your time? And it certainly has. Maybe what specifically about the type of hockey that's being played night in, night out in the South Division? You know, what makes it a very paritable year?
Well, I think it just talks about the talent level that we have here in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. And, you know, every team is able to recruit now and does a good job of recruiting and finding the necessary pieces of the puzzle to make them successful. And, you know, from my standpoint, every team, you know, some teams are maybe lacking some offense but have great goaltending, and you're seeing that happen. Or some teams are doing a good job of shutting the other team down and maybe scoring in bunches. So, you know, you have exciting hockey night in and night out. You have opportunities to be entertained as a fan. You know, as a coach now, it's getting better in terms of our ability to have to be on as coaches. I mean, we can't have any easy nights. We have to make sure we're on point and everybody's bringing something different to the table. You know, our staff has to be on our toes to make sure that we are prepared for who we're playing and we give our players the best chance to win.
This year, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a bit of a rebuilding year for you guys after the finish you had last year and some of the departures on your roster. In your time, as you know, a head coach and GM, have you had to change the approach between groups year in and year out in terms of what kind of year it's going to be, and you know, how hard are you on guys and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we finished second in the division last year, and you know, have some massive amounts of offense out of our hockey club last year, and those were holes that you're not going to replace. I mean, you lose Forchuk and Ferguson and Suretsky, Prevost, Platt. I mean, these are guys that, you know, and Tisdale. These are guys you just don't replace, and we had to do a job of understanding that as a group and maintaining confidence throughout and putting that pressure on other guys. And you know, I think your approach as a coach is different year in and year out with the group you're dealing with. And you know, we were obviously aware that we would have a tough time scoring some goals losing those guys, and that's tough. And so we don't want to put pressure on the Colton Young or the Alex Young or, you know, the other Max Giuliano and guys that we know are going to be good players in this league. We know they're going to score, but you know, it's been a fine line of making sure that they understand the consequences of what their actions are, and yet they don't get too overwhelmed with the pressures that they're faced. So it's been a challenge. It's a young group, so obviously maintaining a positive outcome is important for us as a staff, and making sure these guys understand what they're up against every night. And I think our group's done that. We've transitioned fairly well. I like where we're at. You know, with the trade deadline, we felt we were able to, you know, move a very valuable piece of the puzzle in Coy Prevost in order to, you know, try to get better for the future. And this league's a tough league to get better in the future straight out of recruiting. It's hard to do. You have to build youth, and you have to bring in the right youth, and you have to develop the youth, in my opinion. And so, you know, Coy was a phenomenal leader for us. He did a great job in Canmore. He left a legacy behind, and so much so that we were able to move him out and bring in other pieces.
Well, I'll ask you about your trade deadline acquisition in Connor Lyons. You know, he's a big guy. I swear he's over 6 feet tall. Like, you know, it says 6 feet in the program, but he's bigger than that, it seems. But what does he bring to the table in terms of obviously youth, but what else does he bring to your lineup?
Yeah, well, you know, I think he's size. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6'1", 185. You know, he brings size to our lineup, which is something we were lacking. You know, he's got a good vision. He shoots the puck really well. I think he's got sort of, unfortunately for him, in a circumstance in Fort Mac where he was just a little deeper in the lineup that he would have liked. Didn't quite get the ability to showcase what he's capable of. And I see last night 1 game, 1 point playing with us on our top line. And I think as he sort of maintains and gets going a little bit more with his conditioning, gets used to playing big minutes, I think he's going to be a real good player for us. And, he's got the offensive instincts that we need. He can play at the pace we want to play with, and he's got the physical size.
You mentioned the youth on your team and a young forward group, and right now it's being led by the young brothers in Colton and Alex. Just talk about what they mean to your hockey club, especially the young. It's really amazing over the last few years to see the amount of players making the jump from minor midget AAA to the league. It seemed in years past, and maybe you can attest to this, it almost was an untapped sort of league, and now you're seeing guys, 2 or 3 guys per team, it seems sometimes, make that jump and coming to Junior A.
Yeah. Well, first off, with the youngs, we call them junior and senior because young is harder to say than old young. So junior and senior have been outstanding for us. I mean, I think you talked about it. Junior's transition into the AJHL has been an exciting one to watch. I mean, he was pointless in his first 6 games, and then he's taken off on a tear in after that. And he's slowed down a little bit here with some fatigue, and obviously teams now are emphasizing on him, and he's a slight guy. And you look at last year, he played 32 games in a minor midget league to find out that he's going to play 32 games by Christmas. So, that fatigue's been a bit of a factor, but also the awareness of the league. I mean, it's not an easy league to play in and night out. You got 20-year-olds, you got big grown men that are going to be physical on you, and he's got to learn how to adjust and how to be better. And for him, the fortunate part, he's got an older brother who's experienced, who's been through it before, and he can lean on him. And it's been fun to watch those two work together. And, I really believe that those two are going to be dynamic players in this league together next year. The exciting part is they both come back and they both return. And for us, you add a Quentin Ong, you add a Tian Rask, Max Giuliano, Nolan Steer, Ty Budai, Loins. I mean, we had a group of young guys that are all going to be back. And for us to get that team chemistry right now and the leadership and move forward with this group is exciting, and it's going to be fun.
Do you see that a lot with the teams you've been a part of, where it takes kind of a year to get guys, warm to the league and to get everything under their belt, and the next following year everything kind of comes to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, 2 approaches to this league, and we know that from teams being older that there's an idea behind development and developing players and developing quality hockey players and versus recruiting older guys that have been seasoned veterans, we call it. And we've always felt that we needed to develop hockey players, and it's been fun to watch the development of guys. I mean, Matt Forchuk was a guy that at 18 years of age didn't have anywhere to play or didn't have many options. And I know as a 20-year-old, Matt had every option he wanted in junior A hockey, scoring 97 points. So, Matt's development was phenomenal to watch. Logan Ferguson was phenomenal to watch, and watch Logan over the years become a better hockey player. And Connor Wilson. And, we've had a lot of guys that have come through the system that have been, like you said, young and naive to what the Alberta Junior Hockey League was all about, and then develop into elite players in our league. And I think Alex is in that same boat, and Max, 2 guys that are there. Carter Cole's a 17-year-old defenseman they're going to be fun guys to watch develop over the years. And our organization takes a lot of pride in quality individuals, and we want to develop good people first and good hockey players second. And I think we've done a good job of that. We've got a great group right now, and we're excited about this group moving forward and watching them sort of mature into the team we think they're going to be.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about your D-core. You have some good veteran presence, guys that have been around your program for a couple of years, or at least the league as well. How do you define the defensive core that you have? I mean, you got guys like a Travis Verveda who's been around and certainly been a big part of your hockey club.
Yeah, that's been a strength of ours. I mean, it starts with our goaltending. Thomas Davis has been awesome for us this year. And then you bring in Logan Dick, who played midget AAA last year, and Logan has been great as well. I mean, we've got, in my opinion, one of the best, tag team goaltending combos that there is in the league. And again, both of them back next year. So, we start with our goaltending, and then our back end has been solid. I mean, Jesse Sheen, Daley Hamilton, Damu Tanaka, Travis Verveda, all veteran guys that have been good over the years. They're just continuing to get better and better. And, you had Carter Coles and a young guy that's going to be, a great player in this league one day. And the maturity that he's gaining out of watching Travis Verveda and Damu and Sheen and these guys has been awesome. And it's something that we knew our strength was going to be out of our back end this year. With the goaltending and the back end being a veteran group and the young guys the forwards being so young. And they've done a good job. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them. Last night, I think, you saw that we were in Spruce Grove and we played a little bit more than we would have liked in our end. But, we limited a very good hockey club to 3 goals, and that's a testament to our back end and our goaltending.
What's kind of the goals going forward? Obviously, you want to finish as high as you can. But what do you feel that your group really needs to work on to not only pick up wins, but ensure a good seed when it comes to the playoffs? I mean, you're you're capable of catching that fourth team for the final home ice advantage spot. That's always key in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we really feel that the division after the top two is going to be a dogfight, and you can finish anywhere as high as 3 till 8 realistically, and that was something we thought long and hard about going into the deadline. You don't want to finish in that bottom position and have to play Brooks or Okotoks in the first. They're good hockey clubs, but we felt that if we can get into a good position and compete, we'd be okay in the playoffs. But right now for us, it's about this group developing and moving forward. We really believe that results will come. We want our guys to pride themselves on playing the right way. We want them to compete on a nightly basis. We want to have that work ethic that we need. And, we say in our locker room a lot, it's work ethic, system, and skill. We want to work in that order. Control what you can control with our group. And hopefully we get a more mature group to start next year and a more experienced group. And then we take what we've learned this year and put it into play next year.
I want to ask you a couple more questions, Andrew. And you touched a bit on recruiting, and it's a hard job to do. Seems like Canmore would be an easy sell. I mean, there's something about being in the mountains that's a lot of fun. I think when I was 16, my dream was to be the backup goalie for the Canmore Eagles because you're in the mountains, you're playing hockey. But how hard is it of a sell maybe to attract those top end players? You've certainly done a good job developing guys and setting guys to the next level. I'm sure that's part of the recruiting process. Say, hey, guys, come here, and we turn them over to the NCAA, and some pretty good programs pick up guys from your program.
Yeah, I mean, if I could recruit parents, I think it'd be a lot easier, because I'm amazed at how many kids don't fully appreciate what Canmore has to offer. I mean, if it came down to mom and dad, I think we'd be a sell every time, because mom and dad love visiting Canmore, and it's a great place to visit. Kids are more looking at different things than what I think parents are. But I really believe that Canmore has a lot to offer in what you just said. I mean, we produce guys that move on to play at NCAA programs. Our goal here, like we talked about, is develop good people, good people on, and move them on to wherever it is they want to be. And our program has had success with that development model in terms of the Alberta Junior Hockey League being a development model and bringing kids at a young age and putting through the program and graduating them as grown men. And that's something that I think Canmore as a small town offers. I mean, there's a lot of kids that we recruit that don't have that small town mentality. And I think they learn a lot about that over the years and what a community's like and what it's like to, be the center of attention in the community and understand that their actions have consequences. And no disrespect to the size and volume of Sherwood Park and Edmonton and Spruce Grove, but, it's somewhat easy to blend in here. And unfortunately in Canmore, it's the opposite. I mean, our players are the focal point. They're big parts of the community. And they have to learn that. They have to learn how important they are to the community. And I think from recruiting, we want our guys that we bring into our program to understand that we give back as much as we can to our community. And also understand that, it's about the development process. If I could just let mom and dad make decisions, I think it'd be easy for us to go all over the world. But I'm still amazed to this day at how many kids don't quite know where Canmore is on the map and don't quite understand or appreciate what it is. And it actually changes my entire recruiting plan, because I'm floored the fact that they don't know where it is or what it offers. And so, I think that if we could bring more kids to Canmore and recruit from there, we do have a phenomenal opportunity. But it is what it is, and kids are making educated decisions nowadays. We just have to continue building the program.
You're a St. Albert guy. We're here in Sherwood Park. We're here in the Edmonton area. You're in Spruce Grove to start this road trip over the weekend. A lot of friends and family in the stands when you come up to these parts?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of hockey in this building as well over the years, playing for the Saints when I was younger, and I've been doing this a long time. So it's great to come up to this area and get to see some of the people. And, there's some volunteers that were, still with Spruce Grove that were a part of the program when I was a coach there many years ago. And so, it's great to come back and see them. And I was rooting for these guys to do well. I like being in the area, and I liked, playing in a building like this, and had a lot of memories playing here. So it's great to come up north and get to play, and we just got to get the results we need.
10th season with the Canmore Eagles. Aspirations to go further in terms of levels, or you like where you're at? I mean, we just talked about how good of a Canmore area is.
Yeah, I aspire to move on, I think, at the right time. I think, like anything, it's all about timing and where you're at in your own life. And, I've got a great group of board of directors and ownership group in Canmore. We've got a great group of volunteers. We've got a great setup there. It's obviously a gorgeous place to live. I think that when the timing's right and the situation looks best for myself and our family, then it'll be an opportunity to move on. But for right now, we're real happy with where we're at and growing this program into becoming, a national champion.
Well, Andrew, thanks a lot for taking the time before a big game here in Sherwood Park, joining us on the Canalta Hotels AJHL Coach Show. Good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned throughout the year for more Canalta Hotels AJHL Coaches Show.